to the Rangers Network. The name Hill is almost synonymous with Smithson Valley football, but the Rangers head coach isn't the only one in the family that's made high school football a career. As a matter of fact, his father Glenn Hill Sr. and his brother Glenn Hill also had long and very successful careers on the gridiron sideline. We were lucky enough to spend some time with Coach Hill, and Coach Hill one evening at Ranger Stadium. As the light grew shorter, the stories grew longer, and the Rangers Network was there.
And we're here at Ranger Stadium tonight, and I'm joined by a couple of my family members. My brother, Glenn Hill, on the far side over here, quite a bit older than me, about 2 years. And in the middle is Glenn Hill also, Glenn Hill Sr., my dad. So we're both here at Ranger Stadium just talking football tonight. And my dad, if you don't know it, was a head football coach for 17 years. Glenn was a head football coach for a lot of years, and I'm the head football coach. So I think some people want to know, Dad, how you didn't have a family that was in coaching. That wasn't their background. So how did you get into coaching?
Well,
what took you there?
I got into coaching. My high school coach made a great impression on me.
Coach Park.
Coach Park, Mance Park, and my college coach, Coach Wilson. And
yeah.
I just decided, you know, I'd like to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
So that's how I got started.
Glenn, what about you? Why'd you do this?
Not sure.
What's your excuse?
I don't know. This is kind of, you know, a lot of people that we know talk about at some point in their lives they were considering doing something. This is all I ever considered doing, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's all I ever considered doing. And certainly Dad had a big influence on that.
There's no doubt. I don't think, you know, we talked about this before. I don't know that either one of us ever really considered doing anything else other than having a long, illustrious NFL career first, and then we go into coaching. Yeah, I didn't go, but yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, I think most coaches, in my opinion, get into coaching because some coach had an influence on them. That's about 90% of the coaches do it, and in our case, we had good coaches, and then we had a dad that coached. So.
And I think you also gotta like to work with young men.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you got to like to work with them, and you enjoy doing that. It's enjoyable.
Right.
And I think that has a lot to do with it.
What about as a player, Glenn? Does that have any factor in it when you played the game?
Well, I would imagine you wouldn't get into this if you hadn't enjoyed playing the game.
Right.
I would imagine you wouldn't get into this if you didn't play the game. But I don't think that was the biggest influence for me. I mean, I was an average player. I mean,
no, I don't think that's right.
I was below
average. He was below average.
I know his dad was almost average, so I know he couldn't have been too.
Okay, we're getting older. We can embellish a little bit, so let's call you an average player.
Yeah,
that'd be good.
I might go there, but I don't think playing had anything to do with it. It's been so darn long now. I'm not sure if there was any one thing that made it happen.
Right. Well, you know. But again, I would say that most coaches, that's why they did it. They enjoyed the game playing. They had good coaches that influenced them. So when it's time to do something for a career, you know, I don't think I'm like you, I don't think I ever considered doing anything else.
I know I didn't. I don't know why it hit me that way. I've had no really background for it, but I just really, that's what I wanted to do. And I realized one thing by doing it, I didn't acquire a lot of wealth. So.
But you acquired a lot of good times, and you acquired a lot of good memories.
It beats working for a living, though. That's a good thing. Now you went off to Korea, like a lot of men of your age and generation did. You got back from Korea. Now you didn't go the assistant coach route.
Well, that's true, but I was older.
Right.
And I always wanted to be a head coach, and I went to a little school, and they gave me an opportunity to be one.
Right.
God bless those children, but I mean,
Fall City.
Yeah.
Fall City Beavers.
Natalia.
That's right.
I went to the Fall City Beavers.
Right. Right out of the service, right into coaching, head football coach, right off the bat.
Well, that wouldn't happen again. I'm not sure about how about head that was. I mean, bless their hearts. I thought I was, though.
But that wouldn't happen again. I mean, you talk about eras, and you know, what's different about, what was that, 56, 57 when you got it going?
Yeah.
What's different about coaching at Natalia in 1956 and Glenn at Churchill up until just a year or two ago and me at Smithson Valley? Biggest difference there? Obviously there are some.
Well, I guess the main thing, times have changed so much, you know.
Right.
The coaches are better, and there's more of them.
Well, there's more of them. I don't know about the
you
first part.
You're going to a system there at, say, Fall City. At Fall City, there was myself and one more coach.
Right.
And that offense, defense, and whatever fence,
Right.
you know. So that's,
Right.
you was in that Summit Industrial.
Yeah, not like that. I mean,
Yeah.
our first jobs, we were at smaller schools, but it wasn't me and someone else. We
Yeah.
had 5 or 6 people, and we were able to break it down. What you did, well, but even at East Central, I remember you didn't have a big staff at East Central.
No.
But I
Your
guess it was
varsity staff was small.
little apples to apples, though. You're playing people who had the same type of staff.
Same
Now-
situations involved.
Well, now, just as a side note, back at Fall City, you coached against Smiley, and they had a running back down there. What was his
He was a
name?
wide receiver.
Wide receiver. What was his name?
I don't know. I looked in that program and it said Streety B.
Jim
I guess he
Street.
was a back. you
Yeah.
know.
Now, how average or mediocre was he?
I hate to tell you this. I brought you the program.
Yeah.
You know, my
Yeah.
breaking up mother's housekeeping. She had some old programs. I brought it to
Yeah.
you.
Jim Street.
And I looked at Streety and I said, take that to Streety. You
Yeah.
know.
Actually, you gave it to me, and I gave it to him in a meeting.
Yeah.
That broke some tension and put a little levity to that meeting
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
Tell you the truth, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know.
Not then, you didn't.
No.
Biggest change, maybe. You started in +56. You've been watching them up until now. What's the biggest change? Start with the players.
Players are bigger, better, and a lot better coached. I mean, the kids are, we got enough coaches now. They're coached individually,
Right.
and the skill level so much higher. But the size and height, I don't know.
I agree. You know, just the species of mankind. I don't know why. We're just taller now. We're bigger now. We can run faster now. We're more athletic now. It's more of a year-round thing. Weights, strength training, nutrition programs, and you know, I'm not as old as you, but even when I played in the '70s and '80s, you know, we didn't have hardly any of that. We kind of lined up and played, and again, apples to apples. We're playing people who are doing the same thing, but the game has certainly changed. I don't know if it's for the better or not.
Well, I know that Glenn and I were talking coming out. Kids at your college team, and certainly mine.
Right.
Good JVs are larger, you know, and
Probably beat us.
better skilled
Probably beat
athletes.
us.
They'd beat us.
Well, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. It's. I know I played college football, and we were number 4 in the nation. Had a pretty good ball club, and our biggest lineman was 225. And
Yeah.
we probably won't start one at Smithson Valley this year that small. Our smallest won't be that small.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how it's changed.
You know, Dad, a lot of credit's given to playing football for helping kids
Right.
later in life, and lessons they learn playing football, maybe unlike any other activity.
Agree with you 100%. You know, what do you do that you can work as hard as you possibly can, and you get defeated? You're defeated. You got to get up and
Go again.
Go again. You can't just quit. That's the lesson of life.
And there's something to this game that I think is unlike other things too. I mean, it's just hard. I mean, these guys are getting ready to come out here in 100-degree weather and
Right.
and do things, and being asked to do things that you just normally wouldn't do on your own. And I think there's a lot of great stuff being taught there, and in other sports and other activities too. But I'm a little partial to this one.
I am too.
And with no guarantee that it's going to turn out right.
No.
I think that's the thing. I think a lot of people are willing to lay it on the line if you can guarantee that it's going to be successful.
That's correct.
You need to put everything you've got into this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard every day. It's going to be hard every day all year long. And I can't guarantee it's going to come out like you want. Now, who wants some of that?
Yeah, or
Well-
that you're even going to get to be a part of it.
That's right.
You may actually not get to participate very much.
Right.
There's no promises there either. So.
And for kids that take that on, you applaud them because, you know, you hate to say it. I'm not one of those that thinks the good old days were better than now. I'm not trying to say that, but I do think we live in a reset world. You know, if things aren't going well, you just hit the reset button and let's go again. So for a kid to take on something that hard with no guarantee of success,
Yeah.
hats off to them, man.
My favorite players are those that as seniors know they're not going to get to play. They're just not very good. And I would always talk to the parents and I talk to the kids, and they still choose to be a part of it. and run scout team for us. Those are my favorite guys.
They're
I mean, I
special
see,
people.
yeah, I see them now, and they're my favorite guys. Anybody can be a good player.
Well, if you fast forward 20 years, those same guys, they're probably pretty doggone successful at whatever it
They're
is they're
doing
doing.
fine.
Yeah.
They're okay.
There's no
'Cause
doubt.
they've learned not to quit, and I think that's a big thing in this game.
Right.
I think your mothers and fathers learn from them too.
I think their mother is.
I think their mother, you know, every mother, her son's the best one, regardless how we want
Sure
to
he
put
is.
it.
Sure he
But
is.
when he continues to do something that,
well, they've probably got
takes
pretty
a
good
lot of
mothers
work,
and fathers.
you know, that,
Right.
I think it brings something home.
Right.
Yeah, those are good moms and dads too.
Yeah.
To allow them to be a part of it and not get on the field as much.
Now, speaking of moms and dads, of course, obviously you're a dad. Mom's a mom. And there's one time in college, our two teams played each other, 2 times, I guess. And then as coaches, as head coaches, our teams played against each other, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, whatever it was. How were those nights?
Oh, they were lovely. we had, y'all played each other. We'd just try to sit in the end zone and
Yeah. Impartial.
and leave us alone, please. But they didn't. But they.
Yeah.
But when you played each other, it was fairly simple. We just stayed at home.
Yeah, I
Well,
remember
the,
that.
The first time you did, because Larry and I made a deal, because it was a media deal.
Yeah.
That everybody wanted to talk about it, and we didn't want to talk about it, but we made a deal. We're going to meet at midfield at 6:30 or whatever. And we did, and Larry said, look in the end zone. We're playing Alamo City. Look in the end zone up there.
Yeah.
With Mom and Dad sitting right in the middle of the end zone, and I'm convinced y'all switched sides at halftime.
Well,
And then you didn't come
y'all
anymore.
beat us 63-20 that night. So at halftime, I'd send a runner up there to Mom and
Well,
say,
I went
"Make
over
him
on,
stop."
his
Yeah,
side.
he never would. He wouldn't stop. But
yeah.
and the next year, I think y'all set it out all together, didn't
Y'all
you?
went to
Yeah.
Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget that. Larry said, look up there. That's where they are.
Yeah.
The
They're trying to
newspaper
hide.
keep calling, and I just see what number. I just know.
Yeah, you're not going to do it. Yeah. Yeah, that all kind of, I think the main, there's
That's
so
no
much
fun.
focus on those first 2 because they were in the regional finals. In quarterfinal games,
Yeah.
there's so much at stake. Next few times we played as a regular season, and it didn't create quite the
Well, no.
hoopla the first 2. I
But
guess.
that's, as a parent ourselves, we know that's not any fun.
That's not fun.
You don't want anything but good stuff for your children, and that's all y'all wanted.
Yeah, well, I was hoping they wanted good stuff for me and
Yeah.
not you.
Not
Well, that
big.
second year, apparently they changed their mind.
Yeah,
So.
it came out on a tie there, I guess.
Yeah.
So, well, your 2 sons coached. They drank the Kool-Aid. Now, collectively, our 3 sons are coaching. What do you think about that?
Well, I was thinking, somewhere in there, there should be an engineer or a doctor, but
A real
then
job.
all we're gonna have is a bunch of coaches.
Yeah.
Didn't work, did it?
No, I enjoyed watching them play, and they like their job.
Well, 2 of them work here. 1 used to work here, and that's been fun. You've been able to come to one game and see a
Man,
handful of
one
them.
of them worked with Glenn.
Right, and then we stole him out here. So, yeah, that's and now those 2 sons have a couple of sons between them. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe next generation we'll get somebody with a real job.
My feeling at 86, I'm probably gonna watch it last night.
Well, I bet you do.
I
I bet
so.
you do.
I'm all for it, but I don't believe that's gonna happen.
And we've been talking about Dad coaching a lot. Now, the best coach in the family is not sitting here.
No. The one that ran the show's not sitting here.
Let's talk about her for a minute. What'd you learn from Mom that helped you coaching?
I learned so much from Mom and Dad, both, and coaching was just a minuscule part of it. I mean, I learned from my parents, and I think Larry did too, how to be a good husband and how to be a good dad and how to be someone that told the truth and was honest. And coaching, we're talking about coaching, but that's the biggest thing we learned from my dad and my mom. Mom didn't know a whole lot of football. I've been accused of not knowing a whole lot sometimes.
I don't know.
But those are the things that we learned from Mom and Dad. We learned how to do things right. We learned how to be good husbands and, I hope, dads.
Well, Mom didn't coach football, as she's an English teacher. But I still feel like there's some things I do as a coach that I don't think she necessarily was trying to impart to me or coach, but her refusal to accept failure with her students has rubbed off on me. No. A failure's not an option. She took a a vested interest in that kid. She's going to make him pass. She's going to keep working with him until she has it. And that diligence had to rub off. Staying with something, just being real total attention and detail. With Mom, there was a way things had to be done, whatever it was. And by gosh, she was going to do that. And when you're around that all your life, you just kind of take that away. I'm not so sure I didn't get that from her more than I did you.
Your mother's only coaching first football banquet we had, spoke at, and went to sit down. She said, "You made only 21 grammatical errors in that talk."
The old English teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, she done that to me before. I had those parent newsletters, and I came back to my office one time. I had red ink all over the thing. She'd went ahead and graded it out. I had to get those fixed before we sent them out again the next year. But well, Glenn, your wife, my wife, next generation coaches' wives. What about that?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Larry, I mean, our wives are our wives. I mean, Holly has always been there for me. I said the last football banquet that I had, I talked about her, and I never came home, didn't matter when, that she didn't meet me at the door with a smile on her face and said, "I love you," ever, not one time. She didn't say it's late. She didn't say I had to do all this by myself, and that's what my wife is. I mean, she just kind of took care of me, took care of my kids, and let me do my job.
Yeah,
not
no
too
doubt.
bad.
Well, Lori's the same way, you know.
Well, they're special people.
They have to be, marrying into this family especially, you know.
Yeah.
But they, Lori just, again, kind of like Mom, takes a real vested interest in our players and our program. And, of course, she taught for so long, and just, again, just loving those kids and making those kids come around. Not going to give those kids anything, but going to encourage them until they were successful. And that's a gift. That's a gift. And I think when you're in a profession like ours, there's a lot of different kind of wives out there, but they probably need to be that way for this whole thing to work.
Yeah, they got to be different. I think that Holly has always impressed me that Laurie was in athletics.
Right.
Your mother wasn't, Holly wasn't, but they bought in and put up with it. I mean, you got to be special to do that.
She took care of me, took care of my family, and when we won, she was happy. When we didn't win, she wasn't too happy. Neither was I.
We're fortunate. Glenn, we grew up watching Dad. We probably had the best life in the world. We go to elementary school. School's out 3 o'clock. Bell rings. We bebop across the street, go in the field house, watch practice. Man, that life is large. But you coached then for 34 years. A lot of those as a head coach. Do you think you were similar to Dad? Different than Dad? In what ways?
Nothing.
What your style, I guess.
Nothing disgusts me more than to watch coaches treat kids in ways that you wouldn't treat your own kids. Nothing disgusts me more than to listen to coaches feel that they have to curse at kids to make their point, or degrade kids, or back them in corners. We didn't do that, and I don't know what I learned from Dad about coaching, but I darn sure learned that.
Right.
Kids are going to go home and they're going to talk about what happened that day. And Dad pushed them hard, and I watch it. I push mine hard, and I know you do. But I never feel the need to curse them or talk down to them, or I never have felt the need to do that, and nothing disgusts me more. And I learned from watching my dad. My dad would get on kids and push them, but you always did it in a way that they could walk off the field and feel good about themselves. Always. I always saw that. And I don't know if I was as good at that as you were, but I tried to be.
Well, you always hear this phrase now, popular now, old school. Hey, the old school. In the old school, they did it like it. Well, I guess Dad's old school. I never heard Dad talk to players like that.
No.
None of my coaches ever talked to me like that. So
you don't have
that's
to
a
do
cop-out.
Yeah,
That's a cop-out.
My coaches didn't talk to me that way.
No.
And that is old.
No.
That's old.
Coach Park was old school
He's
back in the
old,
40s.
yeah.
He dang sure was. So
You don't have to do that to make your point. If you do, you're an insecure coach.
I think you're absolutely right. When you get to that point, that means you don't know maybe what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
darn sure do.
Our mom would say shows a lack of vocabulary. So
Shows a lack of a lot of things.
yeah, I don't know if my style's similar to Dad or not. I hope, boy, I would love it if somebody would say it was.
Everybody's got to coach their personality.
That's
it don't
right.
matter who
I can't
you
be
are,
you.
we're not the same.
You
Nobody
couldn't
is.
be Coach Park. Glenn
No.
can't be you. You know, but there are similarities, no doubt. I'll tell you, an impression that you and your staff made on me when I was young was, again, we talked earlier about the size of the staff not being, what it is now, being possible to do this now, but there were some of y'all Saturdays and Sundays where y'all would congregate there at the house.
Yeah.
And the old 16 millimeter projector would be on the coffee table. Y'all would be watching film against the wall. And that's when it struck me for the first time, man, football's a fun game, but I didn't really realize there was all this science to it. Y'all start talking about moving this one here, moving this one there, maybe blitzing on this down or running this play when they're, my eyes got open to, yeah, it is fun, but there's a lot to this game. And that made an impression on me. And then you probably don't remember this story. Glenn might. Mom sent us to the store for something. I don't know what. Just go down there and get something. You threw us in the car or the truck, and we go down the store. And we're walking down the aisle, and one of your ex-players come running over to you. Couldn't wait to tell you about how things were going in his life. Just showering you with praise. And he left. I just assumed he was one of your great players from 15, 20 years ago. He said, no, the kid hardly played. But you had made an impression on that young man. You had changed his life. And that, I think I realized then, because you're young, you don't really know all that. You just know about scoring touchdowns or trying to tackle somebody. That's when it began to dawn on me, this guy's doing more than just calling plays or getting guys, to be better tacklers. And that made quite an impression on me at a young age.
Well, I think all of y'all probably know more than I do, but the ones that come back to see you, that come back to see you, more of those that come back to see you didn't play much.
Yeah. But they enjoyed being part of that, and that was a special time of their life. And
they'll come back and tell you things that you said to them that made an impression that you've forgotten about. But that's helped them.
And we all need to do a better job of remembering that, because, we'll get a little bit of criticism, and we're like anybody else. We don't like anybody talking bad about us, and we'll let that weigh on us forever. And you forget about all those guys. But
and some of them come back and tell you how good they were that I can't recall.
Well, we got a little of that going on too. Glenn and I have been doing some of that. We are now to the level of mediocrity, and that is quite an
improvement,
quite an upgrade. Absolutely. Now Now Dad was the hoss back in the 40s. Yeah. I mean, all of them: football, basketball, track. I don't think they let me and you go to a track meet other than
go to the meet and sit in the stands.
Problem is, I went to them and probably won some races, but y'all could probably outrun me.
Yeah, well, that's
maybe.
Yeah, times changed a little.
Yeah. I'm not going to ask Glenn, because probably that beat down they put on Alamo Stadium against us, so he doesn't get a turn on this one.
I think y'all probably went to school in Nixon Smiley,
Oh, yeah.
We at Fall City. We were both 9-0. We played last district game, and the score was tied or something like that right at the end, and they throw a screen pass. And my nose guard, for what reason, I know not, goes out and gets in the middle of the screen pass and takes it back 70 yards. Now, I never bothered to chew him out when we went in the dressing room, but I was impressed.
You told the reporters after the game that's a coverage call you put in just for Nixon Smiley.
I told him 4 or 5 years ago at some 50-something deal. I said, come here, I forgot to tell you.
Well, we've all done it. We've had kids do things they're not supposed to, and they do something good, and we just say, heck of a job.
Way to go, man. Way to go. What about you, Glenn? Got a favorite game? It can't be against us.
Yeah, there's a lot of favorite games. I mean, unfortunately, while you're still coaching, you just remember the ones that plays that don't turn out.
Yeah,
I mean,
unfortunately, that's true.
We were lucky enough to win the big one year, and I remember standing on the sidelines with 30 seconds left. We just made a play to end it and thinking, gosh, I wish there was more time than 30 seconds to enjoy this.
To savor this.
But we saved it for 30 seconds. But no, there's games leave me. They really do. Games leave me. I remember a lot of the players.
My losses. I can remember some of them losses that.
Well, you know, I remember
Yeah.
moments
Oh.
with kids. Some kids, parents don't know what you're doing on the side. Sometimes you're doing nothing. There's just a moment with the kid and something said and it's funny and you laugh. And
Yeah.
those are the things I remember. I remember moments with kids on the sidelines.
Well, and before and after the game, you know, we lost. I say he's a kid. He's in his mid-30s now. He's on our staff right now. He's on our coaching staff. But you know, we got a quarterfinal game and we lose right at the end. Right at the end, and of course it's pretty emotional. And I deal with the media a little bit on the field, and then go off the field. The player team's in the locker room. I'm trying to gather up some words to try to say. And as y'all all know, there's nothing you're really going to say to make it better. But this player is outside the locker room. He's not in the locker room where the rest of them are. And he's crying, and I'll never forget it. He goes, "Coach, can you just stand out here with me a minute?" And I said, "Yeah, I can stand out here. We got to go. Come on." And after a while, I said, "Come on, we go." I said, "I don't want to go yet."
Well,
And this just goes on. And finally he says, "Coach, the minute I walk through that door, my career's over." And I don't want that to be over. It was such a great ride.
Yeah,
And he was choked up, but he wasn't any more choked up than I was. I can still remember it 20 years later. And it made an impact on me because we hired him to be our receiver coach.
Y'all kicked our tail in something, and same deal. I don't know how I didn't get a penalty. Quarterback comes to the sidelines. There's a timeout, and he says, "I don't want this to end."
Yeah.
And let's just stand here. And I said, "Let's just stand here." We just stood there. I don't know why they didn't flag us. We stood there for a minute.
Good times.
Yeah.
Good times.
And that was a loss, but he
Yeah.
just didn't want it. He just wanted to stand there.
Yeah, I don't even know that kid's name. I don't know what he's doing, but I bet he's good at it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is he's doing. I don't even know who that is. But those kind of guys, when they're
Cliffy.
that vested in it, when they're that in it,
Yeah.
well, they're typically not going to shut that off like a
No.
faucet when they move to the next phase of their life.
Great kid. He just didn't want the game to end. It's the
Yeah.
last game of the year.
Right, right. Well, Dad, Glenn, I appreciate y'all doing this.
Hey.
This was a lot of fun, and you know, we'll
Tell
see
you
what
what,
happens the next generation. See if they got 3 different ones sitting up here next time.
I know one thing. It was cool out here.
It's a beautiful night in the hill country.
I couldn't believe it.
I'm telling you. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
The tradition does continue, by the way. Coach Glenn Hill's son, also named Glenn, is a coach at Smithson Valley. And Larry Hill's son, Alan, is on the sidelines for the Rangers as well. Coach Hill's son, Brian, was a Rangers coach last year and is now at Reagan High School. Rangers Network would like to thank all of the Hill family for spending some time with us and giving us a glimpse into the wonderful football family.